Well, ladies and gentlemen, it would seem as if everyone's favorite collective of unelected bureaucrats, the European Union, has just found itself right in the middle of a massive $140 million scandal. And I'll tell you what, right now, the Trump administration is not happy, to say the least. And so let's just say that the European Union is about to find out a pretty big lesson. Now, for those of you that haven't heard the news, yesterday afternoon, the European Union just hit Elon Musk and his social media website, X.com, with a massive $140 million fine. And just to be clear, the reason why is because Elon Musk has refused to hand people's sensitive user data over to the European Union. And so, because Elon Musk has refused to capitulate, he's refused to give everyone's user data over to the EU, now they're trying to extort $140 million right out of his pocket. Seriously, that's what's going on here. But now, like I said, the Trump administration isn't happy one bit about this entire situation. In fact, they've already taken direct action against the EU. But before we take a look at that, I think it's important to go through all of the history here. How exactly did we end up in this situation in the first place? Well, shortly after Elon Musk purchased the platform, in June of 2023, the European Union audited Elon Musk's X.com and flagged the website for not properly handling hate speech and disinformation. Whatever the hell that means. 5 months later, in October of 2023, the European Union officially issued a warning letter to X for not stopping the spread of misinformation. Once again, what does that even mean? Nobody knows. 11 months later, in July of 2024, during the height of the US presidential election, the European Union then charged Elon Musk with, quote, letting disinformation run wild, pertaining to the pro-Trump rhetoric that was taking place on the website. Because God forbid anyone speak favorably of Donald Trump. Then, 1 month after that, in August of 2024, the European Union attempted to prohibit Elon Musk from holding a live chat with Donald Trump himself on X.com. Just complete and total insanity. They were trying to influence the outcome of our presidential election. Then, after Donald Trump had won the election in January of 2025, the European Union stepped up its probe into the website, trying to build a legal case to finally take down Elon Musk. And so after all of that, here we are now, in December of 2025, and the European Union has just hit Elon Musk and his website X.com with an absolutely whopping, unprecedented $140 million fine. And the reason why is because time and time again, Elon Musk has refused to capitulate to the anti-free speech, draconian will of the European Union. Folks, the unfortunate reality of the situation is, for well over 2 years now, the European Union has been attacking the American right to free speech, all because it's inconvenient for their agenda. But you know what? What do you say we talk about why the European Union is so hyper-focused on X.com as a website specifically? You see, right now there are 27 individual countries in the European Union, and as things currently stand, in right around half of those countries, X.com is actually the #1 most popular news app. So what this means is that every single day, more and more Europeans are starting to get their news from X.com, which really means that they're starting to circumvent all of the European Union's never-ending propaganda. And so that is really why the European Union is doing all of this. What they want is complete and total control, and on X.com, they can't have it. Now, Elon Musk himself actually spoke about all of this just the other day. Take a look.
Yes, I think as a general rule, you can tell which side is the good side and which side is the bad side by which side wishes to restrict freedom of speech. The side that is restricting freedom of speech, that would have been sort of the Hitler, Stalin, Mussolinis of the world. They had very strong censorship, very strong restrictions on speech. That's one of the signs that they are the bad guys. And so, in fact, a restriction on speech and large government is fundamentally fascist, obviously. So ironically, in pushing for censorship, it makes it very clear that the left is the side that is against freedom, and freedom of speech is simply one of many freedoms that we should have as a civil society, because ideas should win on the strength of their arguments. They should not win because they are suppressed.
And so, of course, Elon Musk is absolutely right about all of that, and very clearly that is exactly what the European Union wants, the complete and total suppression of speech that they don't like. Now, Vice President J.D. Vance has also spoken about this entire situation, and I want you all to take a listen to that. But first, I do want to say real quick that if you folks enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a lot. But okay, check this out.
Yes, the Europeans annoy me sometimes, and yes, I disagree with them on certain issues, but we have to remember that is the cradle of Western civilization. The entire idea of Christian civilization that led to the founding of the United States of America, that was formed in Europe. The cultural bonds, the religious bonds, these things are going to last beyond political disagreements, but I think that Europe, and frankly, I would have said this about America a year ago, but Europe is at risk, I think, of engaging in civilizational suicide. They are unable to, or unwilling, too many countries to control their borders. You see them starting to push back against that, and good, that's a good thing. You see them starting to limit the free speech of their own citizens, even as those citizens are protesting against things like the border invasion that got Donald Trump and a number of European leaders elected. So look, I want Europe to thrive. I want them to be an important ally. Part of that is going to be Europe respecting its own people, respecting its own sovereignty, and America can't do that job for them. If you have a country like Germany, where you have another few million immigrants come in from countries that are totally culturally incompatible with Germany, then it doesn't matter what I think about Europe. Germany will have killed itself, and I hope they don't do that because I love Germany and I want Germany to thrive.
And so, folks, really, that's what all of this is about. If the European Union continues going down the path that they're currently on, it won't be long until Europe as we know it, as we have known it for centuries, will be totally gone. And I'll tell you what, here's kind of the harsh reality with all of this. Either the great nations of Europe are our partners in protecting and preserving Western civilization, or they aren't. Now, as you all know, the United States of America has an incredibly broad and expansive military alliance with the European Union. In fact, we spend right around $50 billion every single year to help ensure European stability and regional defense, all at the cost of the US taxpayer, by the way. However, although that is the case, and it is, time and time again, the European Union has sought to affirmatively undermine American free speech values. In fact, as it would seem, Secretary of State Marco Rubio feels the same way. Take a look at this. As he just posted on X, the European Commission's $140 million fine isn't just an attack on X, it's an attack on all American tech platforms and the American people by foreign governments. The days of censoring Americans online are over. And by the way, worth noting, that's not just lip service, because already, within less than 24 hours of this entire story hitting the media, the Trump administration has already taken action. Take a look. Just earlier this morning, the Trump administration has officially decided to stop issuing and renewing visas for EU citizens who work in fact-checking, content moderation, trust and safety, or related activities like combating misinformation or disinformation. Frankly, we don't really need any more free speech moderators inside of the country. We've already got enough as it is. But then, folks, on top of that immediate action that's already been taken by the Trump administration, it seems as if Elon Musk, who is the richest man in the world, by the way, is currently on a warpath. In fact, on like 10 different occasions over the last 24 hours, he's actually out here calling for the complete and total abolition of the European Union altogether. Abolish the EU is literally trending on X and going viral as I'm making this video. But what's more, this entire situation has the European people, the actual everyday people, pissed off as well. And you know what? Rightfully so. Because keep in mind, as things currently stand over in Europe, there's not a whole lot of democratic agency, to say the least. Meaning that the unelected bureaucrats inside of the European Union pretty much just do whatever the hell they want, regardless of whether or not the actual European people are in support of it. And so, as I'm sure many of you know, what that's ended up looking like over in Europe is pretty much the complete and total shutdown of free speech, as well as the importation of tens of millions of third world immigrants. So you know what, folks? Here's pretty much the unfortunate reality of this entire situation. Right now, it seems as if the Trump administration is pretty much going to have to save Europe from itself, because if they don't, Europe is very clearly going to end up becoming nothing more than yet another totalitarian third world hellhole.